Hello everyone, welcome to my today's session on mandibular fracture and its management. Myself Dr. Hemant Bhavnerkar. I am a Mumbai-based oral and maxillofacial surgeon. Before starting today's session, if you are not subscribed my Oral Surgery and Beyond YouTube channel, kindly subscribe, share and like for free learning of oral surgery topics. Let us start. First, what is a fracture? Fracture is any kind of breach in continuity in a bone where the bone is not in continuous line and separates its shape and position. So it's in simple word it's a fracture. Right? These are the different types of fracture we can defined like simple fracture, where the simple fracture is a fracture of the bone where the fracture line is not exposed to the external environment. Like in such a cases we can say that is a simple fracture. What is a compound fracture? When the fracture is exposed to the external environment, like in for oral cavity, here we can say it's a compound fracture. What is a comminuted fracture? When the fracture is more than one part or two part, so more than two fragments of the bone are present in one fracture area, it's called comminuted fracture. What is a complex fracture then? If the fracture is at a region with not only with the bone, with also with surrounding soft tissue is also tear, and soft and surrounding vital structure are also tear, like a inferior alveolar nerve, skin, oral mucosa, then it's called a compound. It's called complex fracture. What is a simple comminuted fracture? When the comminuted fracture is not exposed to the external environment, then it's called a simple comminuted fracture. It's also called as a closed fracture. Right. Now these are the basic definitions of fracture we have seen. So what are the basic etiological factor which causes the mandibular fracture? Most common is a road traffic accident. As we know that vehicle accidents are more common in our India, right? Then what are the other factors like sports accidents, the fall injuries, then assaults cases, then industrial mishaps or the work accidents, or sometimes a pathology also cause the pathologic fracture. So on the basis of this we can classify fracture at different segments. We will see the multiple classification at my subsequent slides, but we can say for mandible most common site is a angle of fracture and body of the fracture mandible. So, how do we diagnose the fracture of the mandible? First, on clinical basis, when the history of trauma, assault, or fall is there, then patient come to us with the kind of swelling and the displaced occlusion like here, and the spacing between the tooth. And sometimes hematoma, hemorrhage, or lacerations are also present. So, on the basis of these clinical symptoms, signs, features, we can say that the fracture present at the mandibular body symphysis parasymphysis region in this case. And what are the other radiological diagnostic methods we have? On the basic 2D radiology also we can found the major fracture lines like on OPG. Other best diagnostic method for the fracture is a CBCT or the cone beam computerized tomography. Right here, this is a 3D reconstruction of the parasymphysis mandibular fracture. Here, the fracture line is running between the lateral incisor and canine, and it's running posteriorly, like here, and it's also involved the inferior border of mandible. The fracture is segments is pulled upward, right? And this is a clearly indication of bicortical fractures. Here also on the slice of axial slices we can able to see that fracture involvement on the both the cortices are present. On the 2D radiology or OPG we also find out the major fracture lines, like here under symphysis region we can able to diagnose that fracture is present here, right? Also the this is condylar region, right? The subcondylar low condylar also the fracture is present. So on the radiograph we can able to see the radiolucent line between the radio opaque bone. After the diagnosis, we should know the what kind of fracture is present. As I early said that what is a simple fracture, which is a just single fracture line is present, and it's not in for oral cavity the occlusion is not disturbed, right? What is a open fracture or compound fracture? The fracture line is one fracture line is present, and but the occlusion is disturbed, means the bone is it not present at their normal anatomical position. Then what is a comminuted fracture? The comminuted fracture is when the soft tissue is also tear and fracture segment is exposed to the external environment. Now what is a complex fracture? Complex fracture is when the fracture at the bone, soft tissue laceration is also present, and vital surrounding soft tissue is also tear, so it's most difficult to treat, right? Then what is the impacted fracture? One segment is pushed between the two fracture line, then we can call its impacted fracture. And what is a green stick fracture? At green stick fracture, one segment is open and one segment is not fracture, it's attached to the somewhere point like that. So mostly at the subcondylar level we can able to see the green stick fracture is present. What is a pathologic fracture? Sometimes due to the sometime pathology present at the angle of mandible, the pathology is big and patient is not diagnosed at time, and sometimes the fracture of the mandible happens. That time we can say that it's a pathologic fracture. What are the other classification? Rowe and Kelly's classification. We can say there are many classification, but most commonly we first classification we have just discussed is the most commonly used. Another is what we can say that single unilateral, that fracture line is present at one side or two side, bilateral, double unilateral, or multiple fracture line. What is a Digman and Netwick classification? It is based on the location of the bone involvement at the mandible, right? Like midline, parasymphysis, symphysis, body, angle, ramus, subcondylar, condylar, coronate, and alveolar process fracture. But as I said earlier, the most common fracture on the mandible is body of fracture and the angle of fracture. Here the percentage of the fractures are present as written given basis of its incidences, right? So most commonly here we can say that here the body symphysis fracture is most common, then angle fracture, subcondylar fracture is also given here, it's most common. And then now we have done the diagnosis part on the basis of clinical and radiographic basis. Then we have done the classification. Now once the diagnosis is made, then what is the treatment plan? Close reduction and open reduction are the two methods for the fracture, right? Here the simple fracture which is not exposed to the oral cavity or not, or the occlusion is not disturbed, we can put the interdental wiring and we can do the close reduction, or maximum we can do the IMF for the slight occlusal changes. In such cases, open complex comminuted fractures, we can need to do a open reduction and internal fixation. We will see how the procedure we can do. This is a basic algorithm, right? When to do IMF and when to do not, right? For mandibular fracture in multiple site and the single site of mandibular fracture here given. When the single site of mandible fracture is present and the fracture site is undisplayed, then only bridle wire and lower arch bar is enough for the maintaining the fracture segment at their position and rigid fixation of the bones, right? If the fracture site is displayed, then IMF with eyelets we can put. Now what is IMF? How we do the bridle wiring? We can see in my subsequent next slide. I have already posted the IMF video in my earlier videos on my same YouTube channel. And mandible fracture at in multiple sites. If the fracture is undisplayed, then IMF with eyelets in the maxilla and the arch bar is can do. Instead of IMF or the arch bar, we can also use the IMF screws, right? Undisplaced fracture we can treat with the IMF and eyelids, and also the rigid fixation of the plating we need to do consider sometimes. Different type of interdental wiring, right? Interdental wiring, there are many types are there, but Ritson wiring, bridal wiring, IV eyelet wiring are the most common. But here the arch bar is also shown in this picture. I have already posted the more detailed procedure video of arch bar in my YouTube channel. What is a arch bar? Arch bar is a simple metallic bar or stainless steel or titanium bar which is having a rigid fixation method, which is placed on the gingival-dental position, and which is fixed with the 26 gauge of wire. So it's help to that arch bar helps to put the fracture segment on the line. The Eric's arch bar placement material, we will require the cutter, a wire holder, a wire 26 gauge wire, and the arch bar. These are the armamentarium we use for interdental wiring and arch bar placement. Why we required a arch bar or IMF when they on the mandible fracture, when there is a occlusion is disturbed, so we have to maintain the patient's occlusion, and then only we have to do a rigid fixation with the help of open reduction and internal fixation method, right? As we all know that the principle of fracture management having a 3 main step, right? Fracture reduction, fracture first reduce, we have to do a fracture reduction, then fracture immobilization, and then fixation, right? So these are the steps we have to follow. So the with the help of Eric's Barta, we place the fracture segment and their normal anatomical point, and we immobilize the fracture segment. Here the IMF procedure is explained. Here the arch bar is placed, one wire is pushed between distal to the lower side, other is from opposite side, and the clockwise loops are locked. All the arch bar is placed, arch bar is fixed minimum 4 to 5 area. Then the IMF is done with the closing of the upper and lower arch bars. Here the arch bar are fixed with the 26 gauge of wire. Sometimes what happen, there is a edentulous region, or we don't have a much time or emergency that we cannot place the arch bar. In such a cases we can put the IMF screw. IMF screws are just trans osseous screw. We have to put like drill and put the 4 screw minimum on all 4 quadrant and or 4 quadrant, and we have to pass the 126 gauge wire and tighten it. Now we'll go for what is the open reduction and internal fixation treatment method, which is the ultimate goal of the fracture management. We can do the procedure under local anesthesia, concert sedation, and GA. Maximum time we do the mandible fracture open reduction internal fixation procedure under general anesthesia only, but sometimes the patient is not willing to go under GA, or multiple systemic diseases, or the sometimes patient does not get the anesthesia clearance, or the sometimes patient is not payable. In such a cases we need to do a procedure under local anesthesia also, but most comfortable anesthesia is general anesthesia. After the anesthesia is given, what is the approach for the mandible fracture? For the symphysis and parasymphysis region, degloving incision or vestibular incision is given like this at the anterior mandibular tooth. At the premolar and canine region, we have to preserve the mental nerve, so we have to go anteriorly and then posteriorly like this incision, and the posteriorly for the angle of mandible we have to go at the border of ramus like this. After the incision, we have to reflect the flap with the help of periosteal elevator, and we have to expose the fracture segment like this. After the fracture segment is exposed, we have to reduce the fracture at its normal anatomical position. We have to keep the fracture site at their normal anatomical position. Then we have to fix it with the rigid fixation, right? And we have to do immobilization of the fracture segment. This is a mandibular fracture reduction forceps we use for the fracture segments to fracture segments holding at their normal anatomical position before doing the plating, right? Here the bridle wire is done for immobilization of the fracture segment, and the first plate titanium plate is placed at the inferior border of mandible. For the mandibular fracture, we cannot place the fracture plates at anywhere, right? So we have to use the, in literature, the Champy's line of principles are given. So we have to place the plates that the maximum forces of mastication are are uh, are balanced when we place the fractures, right? So Champys put the forward the lines where the plates and screw have to be placed, and this is called the ideal osteosynthesis line. So this line is always plus anteriorly, like this the two lines are plus, and posteriorly it goes to the rammer. So always we have to put two plates at the symphysis and parasymphysis region, and posteriorly we can the one plate is enough, right? Why we are doing this? Because the at the posterior layer we have a compression forces as the inferior border of mandible due to muscles of mastication, and the tension forces at the anterior border, right? So one plate here is enough to close my fracture, but at anteriorly the loading forces are more, and the bilateral muscles are acting. So that's why two plates are required to and the torsional force is also there. So two plates are required to balance all the forces. So this is a basically Champy's line of principle for fracture plating. Principle of fixation. Usually one plate with the four cortices of the fixation are required for adequate immobilization. Then anterior to the mental foramen, two levels of the fixation are required to overcome the torsional forces. As I said earlier, first plate at the inferior border of mandible, and second just 1 centimeter above or the above to the first plate. An unfavorable fracture usually require two levels of fixation for stability. Is sometimes we do at the posterior layer, and fixation along the Champy's line allow better fixation due to the strong buttresses structure. This is I already cover. Alright. Then now we have exposed the fracture. We have done where we have selected the area where we have to put the plates. Now which kind of plates are available for mandible fracture? Generally 2 mm, 2.5 mm titanium plates with the different shapes are available, and for bicortical fixation we use a 6 mm or 8 mm long titanium screw. Generally different shapes plates are available, like here 2 hole with gaps, 4 hole with gaps, 4 hole with more gaps, or the continuous 5 to 6 hole plates are there, or the continuous plates are also there. For the angle, for the condylar coronoid process, there are different L shape, Y shape plates are also available. These are sometimes some brands give the color coded plates or the locking or non locking plates also. What are the armamentarium required for the open reduction of internal fixation or the plating, right? First we will require a straight handpiece and the burr, then the armamentarium, the titanium plates and the screws, then the fracture reduction forceps for the inferior border of mandible, and then the screw holding forceps and the manual or the screwdriver, we can say. These are the basic armamentarium required for the plating. Here open reduction of internal fixation of mandible fracture is done. The two level of plates are placed at the Champy's for the Champy's principle at the symphysis and parasymphysis level. This is a straight screw holding tool we can use for the screw placing at the particular screw plates holes, and the similar screwdriver we can say, or the screw manual we can say, to use for the tightening the screws. Here also the IMF screws, you can able to see that place, and the IMF is choose. Here bridle wiring is done. The two plates are placed, right? One is above and the one is below. Then sometimes at the anterior or parasymphysis region, a 3D plate or the box plate are also placed. No, so here the single square 3D plate is used, so the torsional force is compensated. Here the case of the road traffic accident, the mandible symphysis and parasymphysis fracture was happened. The case was of the comminuted fracture diagnosed on CT scan. Treatment plan, the procedure was planned under the general anesthesia. IMF done for the occlusal establishment, then open reduction of internal fixation done with the help of intraoral approach. Then the 2.5 mm of SS, this is a SS plate, and 10 and 8 screws are used for the fixing the plate. So this is a long plate I have put at the inferior border of mandible, because there are multiple fracture segments are there, and one 6 hole with gap is placed at the just above, same as I have explained in the Champy's line of principle. So we have to always keep in mind that for the anterior mandible region we have to put minimum 2 plates, and for posteriorly anterior border mandible we can so superior border of mandible we can put one single plate. Here for ramus of mandible, intraoral approach is taken, and the one 4 hole with gap plate is placed. I have in my this today's presentation, I have not include the extraoral approach for the mandibular fracture reduction. I will cover it in my next video. Here a post fracture reduction plating radiographs. Here the IMF interdental wiring, bridle wiring is done for the occlusal maintenance, and the one long plate 6 hole titanium plate is placed. This is a fracture was present, and it is one bridle wire is placed to reduce the fracture, and two plates are placed here. So this is a brief introduction of mandibular fracture and its management. Subscribe my YouTube channel Oral Surgery and Beyond, and also tell to your friends also to join for a free surgery learning. Thank you for today.